Thank you for joining us today as we talk about Kaasyam, the new collection by Reliance Jewels. One of the greatest benefits of living in a country like India, with its rich and diverse cultural heritage, is that we can draw infinite inspiration from its art and architecture. It is not an exaggeration to say that our wardrobes are full of pieces that speak volumes about our traditions and history. And Reliance Jewels has been particularly prolific in taking these inspirations and converting them into resplendent jewelry over the last few years. After previously basing their collections on designs inspired by Hampi, Samod Palace, and the architecture observed in Orissa, Reliance Jewels has now launched a collection called Kaasyam, where they reimagine the divine city of Banaras via beautiful jewelry. Everything from the architectural marvel Kashi Vishwanath Temple to the vibrant art of Gulabi Meenakari serves as an inspiration. And the result can be seen in pieces that are as gorgeous and multifaceted as the ancient city itself, thus making them perfect for the festive and wedding season. Today, we have with us Anup K, the marketing head of Reliance Jewels, and Sonali Seth, the design head for Reliance Jewels, to talk about how this stunning new collection came to be. Anup, Sonali, welcome, and thank you for joining us today.
Thank you, Kashika. Pleasure.
Thank you so much, Kashika.
So with the festive season upon us, this is the perfect time to launch a collection like Kaasyam, which is inspired by the art and culture, temples, and architectural marvels that personify Banaras's rich heritage, traditions, and beliefs. Sonali, tell us a little bit about how this collection came together.
So, first there is obviously the brainstorming as to what the new inspiration would be like, because we have such a prolific legacy of the inspirations that we've worked, as you mentioned, over the years. And it has been a very, very conscious effort on the Reliance Jewels brand part to sort of look into the rich and diverse cultural heritage that India is so blessed with. So, when we did Hampi or we did Orissa with the Utkala collection, the benchmark was set higher and higher. And so the next collection had to live up to that, the legacy that has already been set by the previous collections. I think the main inspiration was the essence of the city. Banaras is like the, I think it is one of those iconic cities, which is like the spiritual capital, if you can say, of the world. So it's not just, defined to any religion or any even nationality. We have all sorts of people coming to Varanasi, and it's kind of a kind of a representation of what India is, at a world level. And so I think after the pandemic, when everyone is looking inward, we were looking at more spiritual bend to our thoughts and our processes. Life just gave us a very, very different view. And I think that's how Kaasyam came into being, where we wanted to take inspiration from a city that stood for everything that life is, and even afterlife for that matter.
Perfect. So the pieces of Kaasyam are themed on Banaras, like you mentioned, but that is such a rich and a vast palette. How did you, Sonali, get around to distilling all of this beauty into jewelry pieces?
Yeah, that's a very apt question for an inspiration like this. Banaras is a feeling, right? The Varanasi is a feeling, and to put actually those feelings into jewelry and metal and actually tangible forms was a challenge. But what we did is we kind of looked at the city on the whole, look at every bit of inspiration there. So whether it was the actual majestic Ganga Ghat, right, where you have the Aarti, the Maha Aarti that happens over there, from that to the ancient gateways, the doors and the gateways of Banaras, and even how can we forget the Banarasi weave and the sari that is so very popular the world over. So we took inspirations from all these things. Of course, the Kashi Vishwanath Temple, where it all starts, and which is like which has mentions in the even the ancient texts and mythology, you know. So yeah, we took from architecture to textiles. We took inspiration for we left no stone unturned to actually understand what Banaras really is.
Right. I think we can perfectly sum up this collection as modern traditionalist, which makes it so perfect for new age brides. Anup, would you talk a little bit about what you had in mind, who you had in mind as the ideal customer for this collection? And did you start out by focusing on the modern Indian bride?
Yeah. So, as a marketer, the very first thing is to decode the end consumer and the target segment in the collection, and basically the collection in which the universe of a distinct and vast Indian ecosystem really resides, right? So, however, in this case, the answer was quite simple. And you said it quite evidently. It's basically the modern traditionalist that we were really looking at, right? So simplifying this jargon, we use a lot of jargon these days, and this is one of those. So really simplifying what a modern traditionalist means is basically saying anyone who really likes, or for that matter, loves ancient beauty and the eternal truth, but does not really shy away from new things, right? And today's bride to be certainly a large subset of this audience. Indians have had a very keen eye for jewelry, particularly the gold jewelry segment, and various brands have been servicing this need for generations to come. However, what Reliance Jewels brings with Kaasyam is a combination of classical design and modern techniques. One such example, obviously, is the Gulabi Minakari range, which is a perfect example that fits into this scheme of things. These type of products, coupled with simple storytelling, gives the brand enough artillery to create the distinction in the minds of consumers today and to really drive brand consideration. So for us, we were very clear. We were looking for the modern traditionalist brides to be, and we've seen the response so far, and it's been heartening. So
excellent. Brides have a very clear vision of what their wedding jewelry should look like. They're quite particular about it. Sonali, what were some of the things that you kept in mind from a bridal jewelry perspective while designing the pieces?
Yeah, absolutely. So, for a brand like Reliance Jewels, of course, the inspiration and all, the deep diving happens. But at the end of the day, we are a pan-India brand, and we have to cater to the different cultural tastes, the different criteria that the brides and even the other family members who are opting our jewelry, and we look at the occasions that they're considering our jewelry for. So, of course, it starts from a very, very, sort of very inspirational journey, but then it gets down to distillation where we look at, the weight bands. Obviously, we are dealing with a material which is, precious. So we have to be very, very careful about the weight bands. And also every region has its own taste. So we have to be very careful that the designs and the motifs and the silhouettes match the aspirations of the women who would consider them, even like the dressing styles of today's women, everything. So when it comes down to product selection, the end product which is launched, a lot of such criteria is going on in the minds of our design team, merchandising team, to sort of give the best of the best to the consumers, right? And so a lot of work is done to get the end product at the counters. So yeah, all these criteria do have to fit in.
Right. And Kaasyam has everything from opulent choker sets to these delicate necklace sets and bangles. That is a wide range that will leave customers spoiled for choice, honestly. Anup, was the idea to come up with something for every budget and every occasion without compromising on the beauty and the quality?
No, absolutely. So, that's where Reliance Jewels brand philosophy really rests, right? And they are basically the three pillars that we call our what is the most critical elements for Reliance Jewels success. The first, obviously, is distinguished designs, and you've seen that with the collections that we've launched over the past few years. Uncompromising quality, which for us is a given. Come what may, the quality of the products have to be top notch, and then eventually great value. And Reliance is known for great value, right? So these are the three things typically that really help us garner the attention of our consumers. And it is really surprising to see how consumers in tier 2 and tier 3 towns are demanding, products which are of higher value, While on the other hand, consumers sitting in tier 1 and metro towns are the ones who are really looking, and particularly I'm referring to the younger demography,
Right.
are really lapping up everyday wear, which are obviously slightly smaller ticket sizes. So, however, what's really common between the two is how effectively can these products convey a story to our consumers, right? So whether it is tier 3, tier 4, or for that matter, metro towns. And that is where, it gives us a reason for the brand to celebrate a consumer's everyday occasion, whether it is Akshaya Tritiya, Dhanteras for that matter, even regular anniversaries and birthdays, right? And this understanding has led to us creating a range that is not just wide in design options, but is also, price conscious. It's also in the price range that consumers really want, and it's wide in that sense as well. And while Kaasyam is largely, centered around neckwear, the range also constitutes earrings and bangles too. So it is obviously a collection meant for consumers across demography and geography as well.
Right. Perfect. Also, Anup, I'm sure you follow the trends in jewelry shopping very closely. Have you seen a change in the way people are buying jewelry after the pandemic?
So in a way, it's the answer is a no and a yes both, right? The no is because, like I mentioned before, jewelry is not just a functional need of the Indian consumer, but it also is an emotional one. So buying jewelry in a household really signifies prosperity. It is a tool that really solves both purposes of the Indian woman. One obviously is the adornment during key occasions, and the other is the investment for the future. And we all know how Indians are with respect to investments, right? They want to be secure. So as far as the change in the need of buying jewelry is concerned, consumers are still doing what they used to do in the past, basically for generations, right? And that is why I said it's a no. But when you really come to the yes part of it, yes is because the quantum has changed. A lot of speculation in the market during the early days of the pandemic bucketed jewelry in the discretionary spends category, just like the other luxury category, right? But the current trends and the purchase behavior of consumers suggests otherwise. Due to weddings getting restricted to more intimate and close family members, no banquet hall bookings, no lavish parties, jewelry has really taken the driver's seat. Right, and that is with and obviously with the value of gold consistently growing over a period of time, the consumer's mind share in the category has grown, and I think it will continue to grow in the near future as well. So from that perspective, I think there has been a slight bit of a shift, but that has been more as a positive towards the category and the brand.
Right. Sonali, when you design a new collection like Kaasyam, or anything else for that matter, how do you take these findings into account and then translate them into jewelry pieces, particularly after the pandemic?
So, of course, we have a very, very able and a capable design team. What we do is these inspirations are then, kind of the sketching happens at in the initial stages, and the forms and the techniques are then decided. So, for example, Gulabi Meenakari, it is such a very, very special art of Banaras, and very, very specific to that region. So many a times we have to study the art, the technique, in order to use it in the designs, right? And use it also in a way that it is suitable to our consumers, their, budgets, right? Everything. So all of that is taken into consideration. So, it happens at two levels. There is the category, or, so to say, the merchandising team that decides what are the kind of, weight brands. So that brief comes from them. And then we, the design team, we kind of really get into sketching each and every inspiration. How would we perceive? So each designer would come up with his or her own interpretation of that dream. So if it was Gateways of Banaras, there are those lotus motifs that you would find in the arcs, and those are taken, those are given different shapes. Or some motifs that you may find in the architecture of the Kashi Vishwanath temple, or the, the Ganga Ghat. would have been taken. One of one of the inspirations that really blew my mind was the Ganga Aarti. So to actually take an Aarti and to put it into the design form, I think our designers really did a brilliant job there. And I'll just share a little bit. I joined Reliance in Jan, and this collection was already, it had already started, the design team had already started work. And so I was kind of presented, invited to the team on board, taken on board with Kaasyam. So it is so special to me. And also, I think the entire design team, if time would have permitted, I would have taken each one's mention here because they need to be given the credit. I just stand as their representative, but they've done some amazing work with their sketches. And then obviously our vendor partners and our manufacturing teams, where they actually put those designs and ideas to life in metal. I am so amazed at the kind of work we've been able to put as a team together. And obviously the marketing video, I'm sure everyone, it's so beautiful it has turned out. So it gives justice to the entire design process, I would say. So yeah, absolutely amazed at the kind of results that we got at the end of going through that entire process.
Right, that's lovely. So obviously for occasions such as Diwali or other festivals, this collection is perfect. And like you mentioned, the pieces inspired by Ganga Ghat or ancient gateways are great for festivals because they are delicate, yet they make a statement. At the same time, if you're a bride-to-be, I feel like something like the pieces inspired by the Kashi temple or the Ramnagar fort would be the right choice because they have such opulence and grandeur. Sonali, can you talk about some of the other standout pieces from the collection?
So as I said, I particularly like the Gulabi Meenakari. I think I made it a point that I wear a sari that kind of gives you that Gulabi Meenakari glimpse. I am sorry, because the interview is taken from home. I would have otherwise worn the piece. They're so beautiful. But the intricacy with which the craftsmen have, done the work is beautiful. And the gold technique, I should mention here that, obviously our tastes are getting modern and all, but if you go back to our traditional gold jewelry, what we've tried to do with Kaasyam is that we have taken the traditional gold jewelry techniques and blended that, say, suppose with Gulabi Meenakari, which would otherwise go in the Jalao section, but we've blended the traditional gold with that and given a very, very different take to the entire craft. Or, as I said, the Ganga Aarti, so that theme was taken in diamonds, so in both gold and diamonds, but I particularly like the products that have turned out in diamonds because you get that, the sparkle in the diamonds, they really, and the forms that they've taken to represent Ganga Aarti, I think they're really glamorous and at the same time divine, as Anup would put it, right? Dive into divinity. So yeah, I think those two inspirations and those two kind of sub-themes are my absolute favorites.
Amazing. I also wanted to mention that Reliance Jewels recently hosted a contest where brides-to-be were invited to be on the cover for Femina Brides. This is the second year of the contest, and the enthusiasm of the participants has only gone up. And 3 lucky winners not only shot the cover wearing outfits from the best bridal designers in the country, but they also wore handpicked pieces from the Kaasyam collection, which we will see in the cover that we'll unveil for you now. Anup, what did you think of the response to the contest this year and the cover that came from it?
So, Kashika, the collaboration between Reliance Jewels and Femina Brides has not only unlocked the dream of today's bride, not just to feature obviously on the cover page of a renowned and widely subscribed magazine, but also it gives her the opportunity to wear the trendiest jewelry from Reliance Jewels and attire from the top design houses of the country, right? So I'm ecstatic to say the least to see the response this initiative has garnered across the country this year. And today's quintessential bride believes in her rituals and traditions, yet really thrives to explore the new possibilities surrounding her. So Kaasyam is for her, and I think this opportunity that we're really talking about here to feature her on the magazine is also for her. So I think overall we are very, very happy, and we are very excited with this year's collaboration with Femina Brides, and we are really looking forward for this collaboration to continue in the years to come.
Excellent. This has turned out to be such a great cover. Great. Thank you, Anup. Thank you, Sonali. It was lovely talking to you. Thank you so much.
Thank you,
Thank you
Kaasyam.
so much.
Thank you.
It's been a pleasure.